Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
The way I see it, if you're going to build a time machine into a car, why not do it with some style?
Back to the Future, what an amazing set of films. Well,
no, I disagree there straight away.
I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm going to say.
3 isn't as good as the
3
first.
is diabolical.
But for today, we're just talking about the first film and the impact it had on us.
Are we not doing all of them?
No, because we might do Back to the Future 2 on another podcast.
All right, then. Let's just lay it out now, then. Which was the best?
1, obviously.
2 was the best.
No, it wasn't.
No, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
No, you're wrong.
2 was good, but it just featured a lot of reused footage from the first one.
Yeah, but 2 went to the future.
Yeah.
1 didn't.
No, of course it didn't.
Yeah.
But it did go to the future from the 1950s, which is what Doc says in the film.
Yeah,
in the
but
1950s, we're sending you back to the future.
But that's the future of the film, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm on about the future at the present time, which was then.
Yeah, well, we're not talking about Back to the Future 2. We're talking about Back to the Future 1.
Do you know your attitude stinks today?
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
So,
let's end that argument.
Back to the Future was released in 1985. Robert Zemeckis was the director, and I'm sure everybody knows this already, but Michael J. Fox wasn't originally cast as Marty McFly.
They filmed quite a lot with the other guy, didn't they?
About half the film.
Yeah.
With the other guy. You can't even give the man credit.
I can't remember his name.
Eric Stoltz.
I wouldn't have got that. I know all about it. I just don't know. I'm terrible with names. Paul.
There is footage on YouTube, I think, of Eric Stoltz, and it's probably on some of the extras of one of the DVDs. But Bob Gale and Bob Zemeckis said they'll never really release all of that footage because it's not fair to Eric Stoltz, who is a great actor.
What was the reason? Why did they stick and keep going back to J. Fox?
They
then?
just said that it just didn't fit with Eric Stoltz. He just wasn't a fit for the part, which, not all actors can play every single part.
Have you seen clips of this other guy?
Yeah.
And what do you think?
Well,
forget Michael J. Fox.
It's very hard to forget Michael J. Fox, and they're only very brief clips. You can't really form an opinion of what he would have been like as playing the character. They're just brief clips of him in the cafe looking at his dad, George McFly, and things like that. There's nothing that really reveals the way that he played Marty McFly.
It's interesting with a lot of, not just films, TV series, though, who would have played who.
I know, but once you are used to an actor, it's very hard to picture anybody else doing it, isn't it?
I've gone off the subject again.
Don't.
I can't help it. Who was Don Johnson going to be playing in something?
Superman. He screen tested for Superman.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Miami Vice?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
He did, Greg.
You're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Well, I hope I'm right about that, but I think you're wrong.
I'm not. He did screen test for Superman, as did lots of other famous people, but then they decided it needed to be somebody who wasn't famous if we were going to believe that he could fly. Watch the documentary.
I've got it all. I'm not on about that.
But anyway, we're talking about Back to the Future.
I know. Stop shouting today.
I'm not shouting. So Michael J. Fox, the producers of Back to the Future, originally approached the Family Ties people because they wanted Michael J. Fox to play the part of Marty McFly, and they just couldn't make it work with the schedule for Family Ties. So Eric Stoltz was ultimately cast as Marty McFly, and after filming half, maybe 2/3 of the film, they decided it just wasn't right. And they went back to the producers of Family Ties and said, look, we really, really, really want Michael J. Fox to play this. So they agreed as long as it didn't encroach on his schedule for Family Ties, which meant that Michael J. Fox was working a ridiculous amount of hours in the day. He would work on Family Ties in the day and be driven straight to the set for Back to the Future in the evening and be working on Back to the Future. And he himself has said that he can't remember that much of the filming because of that kind of schedule that he had.
How gutted must that other guy be, though?
I don't know. I don't know that Eric Stoltz has ever actually interviewed about that, has he?
There's got to be a little bit of embarrassment there, though, as well.
Well, of course, because...
I would say he got massively paid off for it anyway, so I would think he's all right.
He obviously would have been paid for his time, wouldn't he?
Which is still going to be a lot of money, isn't it?
But he is still a great actor, and he went on to make films like Mask, and obviously he was in Pulp Fiction and all sorts of films, and The Fly 2 was an okay film.
But we're talking about Back to the Future.
We are, but
would it have been a big hit, though, with him in it as well?
Who knows? We will never know.
I mean, every other character in it is absolutely spot on, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they must have known something.
But why was it such a big hit? What made the film explode the way it did? Time travel.
It was everything, wasn't it? Oh, speaking of time travel, that was going to be a fridge.
I know, yeah. In the original script.
What were they thinking with
the
that?
time machine was a fridge.
No, that would guarantee that would never have worked.
Well, ultimately, somebody with some common sense somewhere said, we can't have it at fridge because kids across the world will be getting into their fridges to see if they can time travel and they'll get stuck and die in the fridge. So they made it out of a DeLorean.
But they didn't. They only came up with the idea of a car really late on, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because the fridge was all set.
Yeah, and they were looking for a car that was a little bit out of the ordinary. John DeLorean's company was not doing very well at the time.
They were rated horrendous cars, weren't they?
Yeah, but then Back to the Future came along and made a time machine out of a DeLorean, and suddenly DeLoreans were very cool.
See, here in Britain, them type of doors, they've just never worked, have they?
No, because when somebody parks next to you at Tesco's, you'd never be able to get out, would you?
Tesco's is a local shop, and there are many other shops available. Thanks very much.
Some who haven't overstated their profits by £250 million.
Oh, we're going politics again.
No, let's leave that.
No, news, Sky News, here we are. Caravan News, coming at you.
So yeah, the DeLorean was very cool, and ultimately, if you won the lottery tomorrow, you'd buy a DeLorean, wouldn't you?
No.
Oh, I would.
No.
Yeah, I would.
You know what I'd buy?
Along with an 18 van and a Trans Am.
The Trans Am. Well,
And
that's all right then,
a
because
street
outside
walk
your
bike.
house with your family, you can have the DeLorean, and I'll go home to my missus and park up with the...
Outside my house, if I won the lottery, Greg, I'd have a big garage like in Ferris Bueller with all my classic movie cars in
I'd
it.
do what Chris Evans has done. He's got like his back garden is full of glass, like garages, and all the famous cars like James Bond are in there, aren't they?
I don't know.
Like a clock, half a clock.
Well, when Chris listens to this...
Does that make sense? Half a clock. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, say 9:15 to 3:15. That's how it is. I've just dropped everything everywhere.
Oh, Greg's just kicked
guys,
the
it's all
microphone
gone wrong.
everywhere.
It's gone wrong everywhere.
It's gone wrong. We've got
gone wrong.
coffee going everywhere.
Coffee?
Greg, you've ruined it.
Coffee?
Yeah, you're going to have to... Oh, I can't use him.
Well, you can't use... Here at fence.
Never mind. Never mind.
Oh, it's spilling. It's spilling.
It's going to go. It's going to go, everybody.
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone.
Get a
It's spilling
cushion.
everywhere.
Get a cushion, Greg. Get a
I
cushion.
can't use a cushion. Your wife's going to kill me if I use a cushion. Do you know what? Let it drip.
Is it going on the electrics?
No.
I'm sorry about this, viewers.
Viewers?
Listeners, viewers. Has it gone on the carpet?
Yeah.
Oh, no. We are in big trouble, everybody.
You are. I'm going home in a minute. You got a teddy bear there.
Can't use that.
All right. Well, just talk. It's all right. Stop dripping now.
Good. We'll clean it up in a little while. What were we saying before you wrecked the place?
That
Chris Evans' studio.
Yeah. What I was trying to say about a clock was that's how he's got it like laid out.
Right.
So imagine the numbers, right? 9 to 3.
Yeah.
That's how he's got it laid out. It's all glass garages
All right.
with cars in.
Well, when Chris listens to this, maybe he'll invite us to go and have a look.
He's not going to want me to have a coffee with me, is he?
No, probably not. Greg.
That was, do you know, all that, right, explanation and knocking the coffee over was a complete waste of time because it wasn't even very interesting.
No, it wasn't.
1.21 gigawatts!
What's that?
1.21 gigawatts! Great Scott!
What the hell is a gigawatt?
It's just great, isn't it?
It is great.
1.21 gigawatts.
I still can't
But
believe
nobody
it.
knows when or where a bolt of lightning is going to strike.
Well, he did.
Because he had the leaflet, Greg. Save the clock tower.
Do you know I've been there?
What, to the clock tower?
I've been where that was
On the
filmed.
back lot?
Yeah.
Wow.
It is incredible. It's just the only disappointing thing is you can't help but look at it and go, it's just a drawing on a piece of card. That's all it is. All them dreams shattered.
Yeah, but it can't be because Christopher Lloyd hung off it.
What?
At the end, he hung off the clock tower.
Do you want me to shatter your dreams as well?
Go on then.
No, I'm not going to do it. Do you know why?
Why?
Because I still believe in Santa. That's why.
But ultimately, I think the appeal of Back to the Future to us when we were kids, where we wanted to be Marty McFly, didn't we? From the opening of the film, where he turned up and turned on the great big amplifier,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
through to him then leaving Doc Brown's house,
He's cool,
kicking the
that,
gate
isn't he?
open,
He's just a
flicking
cool
his skateboard down, and then grabbing the back of the truck. Did you ever try that?
course I didn't.
I did.
What?
I did.
Well, we don't have trucks like that over here. What,
No,
you
but I
grab
tried
in the
to
back of a lorry or
Grab
something?
the bumper of a car. Didn't last very long. I fell off quite quickly. I'm all right.
I didn't ask.
I might have banged my head.
Don't do this, kids. It's the most ridiculous idea on the planet.
No, I don't. All of those stunts are done by trained professionals.
I remember the sticker book. I had that. And,
Yeah, Panini sticker book. I had that too.
I remember my brother, which in them days was an absolute unheard of. He went into the shop and bought me the box. And he kept calling me into the living room, shouting at me with another packet. And I filled it up. That day, I filled it straight there and then I filled it.
You got every one?
Every single one.
That
I
is
filled it up.
unheard of because you used to have to fill in the little form at the back of the Panini sticker albums.
Well, I got them.
When you almost filled the book up and you kept getting doubles, if there was like 3 or 4 that you needed, there was a little form in the back, wasn't there, with every number, and you could colour the square in of the ones you wanted, send it
that
off to
rings a bell.
Panini, and then they'd send you those ones
Well,
back.
I filled it.
Well, you were very lucky that you got all the stickers you needed.
500
out of that
packets
box.
in a box. I should think so, don't you? I'm sure the odds are I'm going to fill it.
But then you obviously you didn't even go to school and go, got, need.
Oh, no, I was
got.
doing that with everything else. You know, I'm not talking about anything else, but we did it with the He-Man, the wrestling, and all that. I was doing all that. But the Back to the Future. Again, though, you have to remember, what year was it out?
Released in 85 in the States.
So we didn't.
Well, we might have got it late 85 or 86 here.
So I would have been 6.
Well, I actually saw it. I lived in a very small village growing up, and we didn't get to the cinema very often because it was quite far away, and they did this thing called Cinema in the Sticks, which I think they still do now, where they'll bring like a projector and a big screen to your local village hall and sell tickets, and you get to see the film. They did that with Back to the Future for us.
How old are you, Jason?
38.
That is outrageous.
That's how it was in the 80s, Greg.
No, I went to the cinema.
Yeah, because you lived in Birmingham and there was loads of cinemas.
Loads of cinemas. I did, yeah.
But there wasn't a cinema near us. The closest one was like 30
Where did
miles
you
away,
live?
probably.
Dudley?
No, I lived
You were
in
Dudley, aren't you?
No, I'm not from
Wolverhampton?
Dudley. I'm from a place called Shifnal in Shropshire, Greg.
Don't try and make it that to be posh. I can't
But
believe
anyway, they brought Back to the Future to our village hall, and I remember sitting there with my little brother and our friend Gary Hayward and watching the
that. Oh, mention.
yeah. And if you're listening, Gary, hello.
Hi, Gary.
And watching Back to the Future in amazement and just coming out of the village hall. I was going to say coming out of the cinema, but it wasn't really the cinema, it was the village hall.
Village Hall.
Coming out of the village hall, just quoting lines from the film and going to see where we could find a skateboard from.
And then, did you get it on video when it came out?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think how because obviously nowadays they push it by adverts and internet and everything, but how did they push you buying that? I mean, how did we know that it came out on video then?
Oh, it was just trailers were on the TV, weren't they? And then in your magazines, your Look-In magazine and things like that, there would be adverts for the film and write-ups about the story. But that was the thing. We went into the video shop not knowing a lot about a lot of the films in there, and we would choose a video based on that little synopsis on the back and the pictures on the front cover.
It's always the cover that sold it, wasn't it?
Yeah. And ultimately,
And Back to the Future, they were a great cover.
But ultimately, a lot of the video shop covers were great and the films were pants. But not with Back to the Future, obviously. But we kind of already knew about the film, didn't we, before it came on video? It was.
I think it was the cool thing in the playground to go and watch, and if you had the chance to watch it, you were classed as one of the, oh, you've seen it?
Yeah,
Do you know, one of
at
them?
the cinema, yeah.
Yeah. Not in a village hall.
No. But there's nothing wrong with that, Greg.
Well,
If it hadn't been for Cinema in the Sticks, I wouldn't have seen Back to the Future or Rocky 4 on the
Rocky
big screen.
IV. That's
Rocky
another
4,
one.
That's another podcast.
That definitely is. In fact, not the first 3, just that one.
Yeah. No, I can go with that. Well, the first one was released in the 70s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I know.
And I still haven't seen the new one yet. Balboa.
We have to talk a little bit about the soundtrack to Back to the Future, or one song in it, ultimately.
It's in my car right now.
The Power of Love. What an amazing track. And, of course, everybody knows that Huey Lewis was actually in the film.
Yeah, but you told me something interesting about Huey Lewis as well, didn't you? About Ghostbusters, but we'll leave that one as well.
Yeah, let's save that for the Ghostbusters
That was really
podcast.
interesting. I was fascinated with that. Stick around for the next podcast to find out why.
So Huey Lewis played the guy in the school auditorium when Marty's band auditioned for the school dance. He was the guy that stood up with a megaphone and said, "Sorry guys, you're just too darn loud." That was Huey Lewis.
That was brilliant.
You thought he
I
was
thought you
here
pressed
then?
play on the thing again there.
No, you thought he'd
Wow.
walked in the caravan then, didn't you?
No, because I'd feel it. Believe me. If there's a bit of wind, we feel it.
So, Back to the Future's got to be number 2 on my all-time favourite 80s films
Can
list.
you do a list then?
I'd probably struggle, but I can tell you 1 and 2. Number 1 is The Goonies, and number 2 is Back to the Future.
See, I could probably do 10, but I couldn't say my absolute 100% favourite.
Yeah, I think it probably changes at different periods in your life, because there was a time when I was a kid that Back to the Future would have been ahead of The Goonies. But now, for nostalgic purposes, I think that Goonies will always be number 1 for me.
The actual, like you said, the soundtrack there, the actual theme music to Back to the Future, it's
Yeah.
just an absolute classic, isn't
Alan
it?
Silvestri,
Just classic.
yeah. It is. It was different to all those John Williams ones that were around at the time.
See, again, I have to say, I've been a few times to Florida, and I think California and the Florida one, they did swap things. Like, so if you went to Florida, you saw, like, for instance, I saw the train from Back to the Future 3, and one of the cars used in Back to the Future 3, whereas the California one, I think, I might be completely wrong, had Back to the Future 1 car. It also had the Knight Rider car as well. So I've been lucky enough to see the train and all that. And it says this is the actual train from Back to the Future 3.
Well, just a little thing about that train, although we said we weren't going to talk about Back to the Future 3. If you watch that scene at the end of Back to the Future 3, where the Doc flies back with the train and Clara and his 2 kids, Jules and Vern, if you watch the little lad while they're talking, he's obviously telling somebody off camera that he wants to go wee-wee. Because he points to his bits and then points off
Does
camera.
he?
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that. Although
So-
I won't watch it because it's 3.
Yeah, you can just go on YouTube and have a look.
I will do. Thanks for that.
That's all right. You know, everybody's going to be doing that now.
2's
don't
the
you?
best, though.
No,
Sorry.
it's not. 1 is.
No, it isn't.
1 is the best, and I think we'll leave Back to the Future on that.
Did you ever think they'd do a sequel, though?
No, yeah, because it said to be continued at the end.
Yeah, but no, the originals I don't think said to be continued.
It did by the time I saw it.
Well, I should think so in the sticks. I think the third one had been out and finished by the time you saw it.
Whatever.
You've changed.